this video today is going to be for level 3 students. So this is going to be a follow along video. So level 3s, make sure you are wearing something you can do gymnastics in and you have a safe spot to do gymnastics in. You're not going to need any special equipment, but you're going to want a flat open space where you're not going to run into anyone or kick anything. And then if you have some wall space or a couch or a chair that you can put your feet up on, we'll be doing that a little bit later. And then a soft object like a pillow or a couch cushion or a blanket to protect you in case you fall. As you can see here, I have blue, who's nice and squishy, and like I said, we'll use that a little bit later just to protect us. In this video, we will be going over all 4 events. We're gonna go in Olympic order, so we're gonna do vault, bars, beam, and floor. So all of you are going to get a progress chart. You're going to have one for each event. So you'll have one for vault, one for bars, one for beam, one for floor. As you can see, this is my progress chart for floor, and there's 5 days listed at the top. And then under each skill, there's number 1, and then there's number 2. So for the first one on floor, it's splits, and number 1 is hold each split for 30 seconds. So when you do that, you get to check off your box, you get to fill it out. Once you fill up all 5 boxes, all 5 days, you get to move on to number 2. So number 2 for splits is holding each split for 60 seconds. So it gets a little bit harder. So you want to make sure you start with number 1, do it 5 different days, and then you get to move on to number 2. Now, when the gym reopens, if you girls bring your progress charts back to the gym, all filled out, you are going to get 25 tickets. Okay, girls, we're going to get started with vault. So make sure you have enough space to move around. We are going to start with handstand pops. So let me show you that in case you forget. Now, if you have a soft object like a pillow or a blanket or a couch cushion, I have this, which is squishy. You can put behind you in case you tip over. You don't want to just tip over and crash on the floor. So if you want to put something like that behind you, that's soft, so you don't hurt your back. If you fall over, go ahead and do that. So for our handstand pops, this is really important for our vault girls because when we go to do our front handsprings over the mat, not just our handstand flat backs, because our next vault we're going to learn is our front handsprings over the mat, we have to be able to push through our shoulders. So our arms are going to start down, and we're going to reach out and try to block off our hands. Now girls, it's really important that we do not bend our elbows, so you have to push through your shoulders. This is the motion, so you can try just doing it standing, okay? And you're pushing into the floor, and this is really gonna help with your front handsprings on floor and your front handspring vaults as well. So we're gonna do 5 of those. Go ahead, let's try it. We're trying to push through our shoulders. Get all the way up to our handstand. And I know these can be a little tricky because you have to push off both hands at the same time. Sometimes when we're first learning, we kind of go like this and kind of walk them. So you really have to push both arms at the same time. So once you're done with 5, you can check it off on your chart for day 1. And then you'll see underneath number 2, it's doing a little bit more handstand pops. It's doing 10. So once you complete all 5 days, then you get to go to number 2. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do is a handstand hold. I'm gonna do mine against a wall. If you wanna do yours against a wall as well, you can. If you wanna try to just hold it without a wall, that's awesome too, but we're gonna hold it for 30 seconds. So I'm gonna do it with my belly against the wall. If you girls wanna do it with your back against the wall, you can. It's totally up to you. So we're gonna hold it for 30 seconds. I'm gonna get my timer. All right, here we go. Okay, we're starting at 30 seconds. We're 10 seconds in. seconds, girls, you can do it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, come down. Make sure we land on our feet. We're not just gonna collapse on the floor because your floor is not as soft and squishy as it is at the gym. So our handstands are really important because on vault, we're all doing a handstand flat back. So we have to have a nice, tight, straight body handstand. We don't want to be arched in our lower back. We don't want our head sticking out. We want to be nice and straight, covering our ears, okay? So like I said, you can do that against a wall with your back or your belly against it. You can try to just hold it in place and walk, totally up to you. And then the next thing we're gonna work on is our run. So you might need to go outside for this so you have some room. But another very important part of our vault is our run. If our run is kind of slow, it's not gonna be as powerful as it could be. Our vault won't have as much power as we want it to have. So when we're doing our run for our vault girls, we wanna make sure we're accelerating. So that means we're getting faster. The closer you get to that springboard, the faster you wanna get. We do not wanna slow down, which I know it's hard to wanna speed up the closer you get to it. So I just want you to practice running outside, find an open space. You can time yourself, you can race your brother or sister, and then you can write your time in the boxes instead of checking it off. So all those things are super important. Our run is an important part of our vault. The handstand is an important part of our vault. And then the block coming off the mat is very important as well. On floor, we're gonna work on some front handspring drills. So we'll get to those a little bit later. So now we're going to move on to bars. And like I said at the beginning, you don't need any special equipment. I know some of you have bars at your house, like the small bars. So if you do have those are great to practice your pullovers, in your casts, in your back hip circles on. You can practice your chin holds, practice your leg lifts. So if you do have those at home, awesome. If not, we're gonna go over some stuff you can do at home without a bar. So the first thing we're gonna do is our hollow body hold and then our hollow body rockers. So if any of you have, this is just PVC pipe, and it's just kind of like a pretend bar. So if any of you have that, kind of like a stick, something like this, that you can hold on to and pretend it's a bar, you can use that. If not, you do not need it. Just if you have it laying around your house, maybe you can use it. So you all know how to do a hollow body hold. I'm just gonna show you to remind you what our form should look like. So when we're doing it, we wanna make sure we're not grabbing our legs. Our arms can be down or up over our head. And we wanna make sure our back is nice and round, our shoulders are up, our toes are up. This is really important. So when you're doing your hollow body hold, you shouldn't be able to fit a whole hand underneath your back. That means it's arched. So right now, I'm not doing it right because I can fit a whole hand underneath. Now I'm pulling my ribs in. I can't fit it under. That's good. So we're gonna hold a hollow for 30 seconds. And as soon as we finish, we're not gonna let our feet touch. We're not gonna come down. I'm gonna do 10 hollow body rockers, which look like this. Okay? So your arms can be here or here. So if you do have something to hold on to, you can hold that while we do this, or you can just have your hands by your side like we normally do. Okay, so we're gonna hold it for 30 seconds and then do 10 rockers right away. We're gonna try not to come down. Here we go. We're 10 seconds in. Remember, try not to let your back arch. I know it's tough, I know it's tricky, don't grab your legs. 10 more seconds. Okay, now we're gonna do 10 rocks. I have 5 more. Try not to let those feet touch. Nice job. So you should really feel that in your ab muscles. Girls, a good stretch you can do to stretch out your abs is a seal stretch, just like this. and you'll feel it stretching right here. Also, a bridge is good. Now, girls, our hollow body holds are really important because that is our shape we have for our cast and our shape we have for our back hip circle. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do is leg lifts, but we're gonna do them laying down because we can't hold on to a bar. So if you have something like this, you can hold on to, or you can put your hands underneath something. Like I'm gonna put mine underneath that mat, or you could have someone stand behind you and you can grab their ankles. So you can kind of hold on to something. It's just gonna make it a little bit easier. So I'm gonna do them right here. I'm gonna put my hands underneath. We want our arms to be totally straight because that's how they would be if we were on the bar. And we're trying to just lift our legs as high as we can, keeping them straight. So if you cannot get them all the way over, that's totally fine. It's better to have straight legs than bent legs. So it's just gonna look like this. As far as you can go and come down slow. So we're working all of our tummy muscles. So we're going to do 10 of those. Here we go. Lift them up, lift them down. 1, 2, 3, make sure you're squeezing your legs. 4, 5, and we want to make sure we're not slamming our feet. 6, 7, 8, 9, almost done. 10. Good job. So those also are good. They work your ab muscles, they're gonna work your leg muscles, and eventually, when you girls learn a kip, one day you're gonna have to do your glide, and then leg lift and hold your toes to the bar like that. So that is why we're working on these, to help with your kips in the future. Okay, the last exercise we're going to go over is a squat on drill, which I'm sure most of you have done. You probably remember it, where we put our hands on a floor bar and then jump our feet to the bar. Now, I don't think you girls have a floor bar, so we're just gonna do it on the floor. So we start in our push-up. We start in a push-up because that's the shape we are in for a cast. And then we bring our feet in between our hands. We try to stand up in balance, stay nice and hollow, and jump down. So it's gonna look like this. Push up, shoulders over our hands, squat, hollow, and jump like you're jumping to a high bar. So we're gonna do 5 of those, so try it. Push up, jump your feet in, hollow, jump. Go ahead, girls, keep trying those. It's really important we keep our shoulders over our hands because when we cast, if we cast back here, we're not over the bar, we're gonna fall backwards. We don't want to fall backwards in a squat arm. We're trying to go forwards, up tall on the bar, and jump and catch the high bar in a nice tight hollow shape. We want to make sure we're catching it like this so we can grab it and stay nice and safe. So that is all the stuff we're going to go over on bars today. So we did our hollow holds, our leg lifts, and our squat-ons. And our squat-ons are the next big skill we're going to be working on, so that's why we're doing these drills. Okay, girls, so now we're gonna practice beam. So if any of you have a floor beam, you can use that. If not, you can use a line. I have this line right here. You can make one out of tape. If not, you can just pretend. And you're just trying to land back on a line like it's your balance beam. So the first thing we're gonna practice is our handstands on our line or on our beam. And we're trying to get to vertical. So vertical means all the way up, and then we're trying to land back on our line in our nice tight lunge. So make sure when we're doing our handstand, we're going through our T position, and we reach out. We don't want to reach straight down to our foot. So we're going to try to do 5 of those, all the way up, and then land back down on our line. If you want to go against a wall, you can, or if you want to put something soft behind you in case you tip over, you can do that as well. So we're just going to try to kick up as high as we can and then come back down. That one I was pretty close to vertical, but I could have went a little bit higher. So we're trying to get totally straight in our handstand. So let's try 5 of those, landing back on our line. And girls, a good tip when you're coming up, look for that foot. See it land on the beam. Keep your arms squeezed tight by your ears. Once you're all the way up, then you can press open. But we want to stay tight until we come up. Then we can press open. So once you're done with 5 of those, you can check off your box. The next thing we're going to work on is our cartwheels. So we're trying to land our cartwheels back on our line. And I know it's not very scary practicing it on the floor, so it's going to be a lot easier for you than doing it on a high beam. So same thing as our handstand, we want to make sure we tee and we reach out and land on our line. And you still want to try to see that foot land and come up. So you're going to try to land 5 of those on your line. If you can do 5 in a row, that's awesome. So we're trying to do 5. Once you're done with that, you get to check off your box. Okay, the next thing we're going to work on is our turns. So the first number under our turns is a pivot turn. So for our pivot turns, we start with our beam feet. So we're going to do it on both feet, 5 on each leg. So remember, we go up to our crown, hips under, chin up, turn. We're going to hold our releve for 1 gymnastics, 2 gymnastics, 3 gymnastics, then we turn. Okay, so we don't want to just go like this. That's not a good pivot turn. I know you girls can do better than that. So we go here, 1 gymnastics, 2 gymnastics, 3 gymnastics, turn. So that's 1, because I did it on each leg. So we're going to try to do 5 of those. So let's try it together. Crown, straight legs, hips under. Try not to wiggle. And back. Okay? So we're going to do 5 of those. Awesome. When you're done, you get to check off your box. The next thing we're going to practice is our half turn, which we have done on floor before, but we haven't really done a lot on beam. So remember, for our turn, we point our good foot in front. So this is my good foot. Arms are like this. And let's just do a turn prep first. So we're going to pull up to passe, hold on releve, try to balance, and then we plie. Let's try one more turn prep. Here, pull up tall, and finish. So we're going to try to do that on our line. Just a half turn, not a full turn. So we're here, pull up, and try to land back on our line and finish. So we're going to try 5 of those, okay? Let's try again. And if you can, girls, once you do your half turn, so I made my half turn around, you want to try to hold your releve before you plie up, so you show control in finishing your turn. So when you're done with your turns, you can check off your box. Now we're going to work on our jumps. So the first jump we're going to go over is our straight jump. So beam feet, good foot in front, arms in crown, releve, plie, jump, and land. You girls know your straight jumps. We do them all the time. Remember, we're trying to push through our toes. Our toes should point off the beam. So it wants to look like this. Instead of, see how my toes didn't point at all? We're really trying to jump up high, point our toes, and keep our chest up. Remember, our jump should not travel forward. It should pretty much stay in the same spot. So we're going to do 5 straight jumps. Releve, paint the walls, my chest stays up, my hips are under, and then I plie when I land. And you can land with your arms up or down, it's up to you. The next one we're going to practice is split jumps, which I know we haven't done as much as our straight jumps. So split jumps, same thing, our good foot is in front, and when we do our jump, our arms go out to the side, and then we're going to land with them down. So we start the same way, but then we bring them up and down. And same thing, girls, when I jump, my chest is up, I don't want my booty sticking out, my shoulders down, and we're not traveling forward, we're trying to stay in one spot. So we split jump and land, okay? And if you want to practice that on both legs, you can, but the one we're gonna be doing more is our cartwheel leg, our good leg. If there's anything else you want to practice on your line, like bridge kickovers, back walkovers, front walkovers, leaps, you can do that as well, but we're gonna go over some of that stuff on floor. But if you want to practice that on a line or a beam, you can do that as well. Okay, girls, so now we're going to do our last event, which is floor, and we're gonna start with our splits. So we're gonna hold each split, our right, our left, and our middle for 30 seconds. So I wanna show you girls something. You've done it before, but I wanna remind you. If you have your split all the way down on the floor, you can do an over split. So you can put your leg up on a raised surface. So I have this mat, but at home you could use a stack of books, maybe a pillow, a couch cushion. So if you have your split down and it doesn't really hurt, if you don't feel like it's stretching, put it up on a raised surface. So that's called an over split. All right, so we're gonna do our splits for 30 seconds. You can choose whatever leg you wanna start with. I'm gonna start with my right. And we're just gonna slide down as far as we can. All right, I'm gonna start my timer. Make sure our toes are pointed, they're not turning in. And just go down as far as you can. If you want to reach forward, you can. If you want to reach back, you can. Okay, for the last 10 seconds, we're going to put our arms up. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do our other leg. And girls, when you do your over split, you just want your foot up on the mat, not your whole leg. So just this part of your foot when you're doing your over split. All right, let's do our other leg. 30 seconds. Slide down as far as you can. Here we go, make sure you're pointing your toe if you wanna reach forward, if you wanna reach back. And girls, splits are something that are really good to practice at home. Don't need any special equipment or mats. You can do it while you're watching TV. And if you don't practice them a couple times a week, they're gonna be hard to stay all the way down. So you wanna practice them a few times a week at home. Okay, arms up, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do our middle split. If you still have your line or your beam, you can do it on your line so you know you're super nice and straight. All right, let's go into our middle split. We're gonna hold for 30 seconds. And girls, in our middle split, we should not be sitting down. That's a straddle. So we need to be forward on our elbows, or if you're further down than me, on your belly. Make sure our legs are straight, our toes are pointed. We're in a straight line. Almost done, we're halfway through. Five more seconds. Awesome, come on out. So those are our splits. So the first level is holding them for 30 seconds. Number 2 on your chart is holding them for 60 seconds. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to our floor skills. The first one we're going to practice is our back walkover or a back bend kickover. If you are a little bit nervous to do a back bend, you can do it against a wall. So you'd start like this. Remember, we want to look at our hands as we go back and our arms stay tight to our ears. They don't want to go to the side. So you can do it like this and then walk your hands down as far as you can until you get all the way down. So if you're a little nervous to try it without the wall, do it against a wall. Okay? And then we're gonna do our back walkover. So I'll show you a back walkover in case you forget what a back walkover is, and we're trying to do 5 of them. So we start on one leg, and we go back, and we finish in our lunge. And we're trying to keep our legs nice and straight. Now, when we're doing our back walkover, girls, you want to make sure this leg keeps lifting as you go back. It doesn't want to start to lift and then drop. So I know we've done this drill before a few times. If you want to put your leg up on a raised surface so it can lift like something like this or something like this. So this could be up on your couch or a stack of pillows or something like that. So that is for our back walkovers. If you're not confident going back on one leg, just do your back bend and then your kick over. Okay, the next thing we're gonna go over is our front limbers and our front walkovers. So a front limber is where you kick up to a handstand, you fall to a bridge, and then you try to stand back up. Front walkover is exactly the same as that, but we're going through a split and then coming up on one foot then the other foot, just like a back walkover. If you're having a little bit of trouble with the standing up part, remember girls, when we stand up, we're looking at our hands, our arms are staying by our ears, they're not coming out to the side. You can go back to your wall, just like we were doing for our back bends. Look at our hands, walk our hands down as far as we can, and then we walk them up. So you can go from all the way down, trying to walk your hands up until you come to the top. Make sure you're rocking and rolling your back out in between so your back does not get sore. I'm going to show you handstand, falling to a bridge on a raised surface, and showing you that it's important to keep our shoulders open. So this is for our front limbers. Kick up to a handstand, fall to a bridge, and we want to make sure when we fall, our shoulders stay over our hands like this. So mine kind of fell this way. They want to stay pushed open. It'll make it easier for you to stand up. And that's when another good thing, like we talked about earlier, is our bridges against a wall, against a raised surface like a couch. So we're trying to bridge up and get our shoulders, our armpits, our face flat against that surface. It's going to be really helpful for our front handsprings and our back handsprings. So you are trying to do 5 front limbers or 5 front walkovers. Girls, these are not something we're running or we're hurdling into. We just start in our lunge and then we go into it, okay? We run and we hurdle into a front handspring, but we're not doing our front handsprings just yet. So I know some of you might have a trampoline or an air track at your house. So if you have that and you feel confident doing your fly springs, remember our fly springs is when we run and then we front handspring but 2 feet together and then we land with our feet together. So instead of hurdling, we jump from 2 feet. So if you feel confident doing that, go ahead and do that. If not, you don't have to. These are super helpful as well. Okay, so the next skill we're gonna work on is a back limber. And this is really important for our back handsprings. And you can either back bend into it or just start in a bridge and then kick over. So it's just like a bridge kick over, but we're kicking over with our feet together. We go to a handstand, then we come down with our feet together. It's important we're kicking over our feet together because for a round-off back handspring, our feet stay together the whole time. They don't want to come apart. So I'm just going to show you a drill you can do at home to help. So I'm going to put my feet up on a raised surface, but you can do it on the floor as well. Or if you have something you can put your feet on, you can do that. You're going to bridge up. And I'm not going to try to kick over. I'm just trying to jump with my feet together. Just like that. And the more times you do that, the easier it's going to be to finally get that kick over to your handstand and then come down. So that is your back limbers. We're trying to do 5 of those. And girls, for any of this stuff, if you want to put that soft object under you, if there's anything you don't feel comfortable doing, you don't have to do it. Just do what you feel comfortable doing. That's why I talked about using the wall, just trying to jump your feet up, not going all the way over. So that's what we're going to do for floor today. Thank you guys for watching and practicing gymnastics at home. We are so proud of you. All of your coaches would love to see your progress and how you're doing. So parents, if you want to send us emails, we would love to see how your kiddos are doing, offer them tips, offer them encouragement. So please feel free to send us updates of how you guys are doing. Remember to keep filling out those progress charts so you can see how you're doing. And we will see you guys very soon.